All right, guys. Tom Davidson back with Landon. Welcome to Yard Work. We've got Jeff Segal here. He's coach at NEO and is a top program coming out of Northeast Ohio. Can you kind of fill us in what you guys are doing right now, how you started, and maybe even start back as far as your college days as a player?
Absolutely. Well, first time, Landon, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. So I'm originally from Michigan. I grew up in Michigan and then ended up going to a small private school to play college called Hiram in Northeast Ohio. After that, I started to coach for another organization. I'm still young. I'm 26. And I started to coach when right out of college, and I was coaching. I loved it. I knew I was something that I was passionate about. So I ended up just starting my own team. And that team did so well and got so much recognition that other players from other age groups started wanting to come. And that's kind of how the organization really started. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm passionate about and love, and I'm excited, for the future. And right now we only have 3 teams. This is like year 1 of the organization. It's year 2 of NEO's brand because we started that team last year. And this is now the first year of like an actual multiple teams in the same organization under the same umbrella. So we're growing, we're getting good recognition, and I'm happy about it. It's exciting times. Definitely.
Yeah, I know you've got a couple of guys that you have 2 16s and 1 17U team. You've got a couple guys already committed.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, a couple guys committed, a lot of guys who have offers on the table that aren't accepting yet. And then a lot of guys on the rise that are, looking a lot of talent. It's a lot of 3 teams packed with a lot of good talent. And we're excited, and we're hoping this summer, if, when it does happen, I'm optimistic about that we, show you guys and all the other organizations and all the college coaches out there, what kind of talent we really do have.
How are you guys pulling your young guys in at that 16, 17U age division, maybe pulling these guys away from the big boys that have been around for 5, 10, even 15 years in that region?
Absolutely. There's so many good organizations in the Cleveland area, which is crazy. There's multiple that come to my top of my head who just run really, really, really good organizations. And I think the way we're doing it, that first team that I had when we started, when they were 15U, they did so well. And, they went to big tournaments and, got a lot of press at those tournaments and went deep in those tournaments. So when that starts happening, as you guys know, people start to talk about that and want to be a part of something like that. Also, I'm very technology based. So social media is really big for me. So we post everything on social media, and I promote on social media, and social media has really got me a lot of, advertising to kids and parents in the area. And then what also helps is, we have a great staff of people who do lessons, and we bring lessons from all different organizations. And once they start doing lessons with us, they like our coaching, and, they want to be a part of, our off-season program as well. So I would say those are probably the main things: pulling from lessons, pulling from social media, and pulling from just, doing the right things on the field, and, showing that we're not only training the right way, but we're exposing them the right way. And in my mind, those are the 2 most important things for any organization right now, especially when you're talking about high school kids at a higher level, is making sure they're getting the right training and making sure getting into the right spots to be expected.
Have already committed or are, looking to, commit or, whatnot, just on your team?
Absolutely. So on our 16U team, we have Andrew Jones. He's out of South Euclid, Ohio. He goes to a school called Brush High School. He actually signed with Ohio State last year. Real good kid, hard worker, good leader. And he's just like this overall, this pure shortstop. It's hard to find really pure shortstops anymore, and especially in the Cleveland area. But he's just a purebred shortstop, and watching him over there with the glove and then coming to the plate and doing his thing, he's awesome. And I've actually been coaching him since he's been like 11U through other organizations, and we just been together ever since. So and then on our 17U team, we have a kid, Charlie Howley, who just committed to Mount Union a couple months back. He's a pitcher, hit 90 for the first time this offseason. He was excited about that. And he's just lanky and deceiving and he's really good on the mound. He plays for our 17U team. And then, we have a couple guys, that, have had other offers from mid schools. We have a guy who had an offer from Grand Valley State, hasn't accepted it yet. And then, other offers from like schools, smaller schools like Lakeland Community College over here in the Cleveland area. That this kids are just trying to play this summer to see what else they can get out there. But I'm excited. If I was talking about some top prospects in the organization, there's so many, especially loaded on that 17U team right now. So that 17U team is actually mostly the varsity team over at Menor, which is probably one of the top 3 best schools in Ohio baseball-wise right now. They lost in the state championship last year to St. Ignatius up here in Ohio. And it's basically their team. There's like 9 other starters on that team, and they're just loaded. They're just loaded up, and they got pitching, they got depth in their lineup. They're an exciting team. And the team that I personally coach, the 16U team, we're from everywhere. We got kids from 3-4 hours away coming to travel to play with us and train with us. And that team's just super talented. They're a big team. Our biggest weakness on that team is speed. We're big, we're powerful. We throw hard, we hit far. We play good defense, but man, I would love to be able to steal more bases. I just can't with that roster. It'd be a fun summer for us, that's for sure.
Awesome. What else we got here? What are some of the top events that you guys are looking forward to this upcoming summer?
Well, of course, Tom's national championship down there in Kentucky. We're excited for that. It's our first year doing this. Is my first year. I've been coaching travel ball since 5-6 years now. Like I said, 2 years with my personal organization, and I've never done a Pastime tournament ever. And I'm so excited. As Tom knows, I loaded up on Pastime tournaments this year. Between my 3 teams, I think we have 6 of them.
Yeah.
And we're excited to start digging in more into Pastime. And I like the organization, and like I said, I'm big on technology. I went on your guys' website and social medias, and I saw that you guys are doing such a good job, and exposing the kids the right way, and putting together good tournaments, and everything was just clear, and I just understood everything that you were coming across on your website, and I was like, I need to start coming. And I talked to you on the phone months back. I think it was like end of last summer, and I was like, this is awesome. This is the kind of tournament structure I'm looking for. So I just of course that national championship. We're going to PBR championships, a bunch of PBR tournaments. We basically fully loaded on Pastime or PBR. I would say 95% of our schedule is either Pastime or PBR tournaments. And then the rest are either camps that we got invited to. Like we're going down and playing, our 16U team is going to Ohio State, and we're playing, a full invite only tournament at Ohio State's field. And then we're also going to Miami of Ohio and playing another invite-only tournament. It's 8 teams. And, it's just eight teams that were invited, and all games are played on that field, of course, in front of the coaches there. So it's either really team camps / tournaments, or Pastime or PBR. So.
Yeah, that's good. And again, I know you and I have talked about it. I used to be affiliated with some of the PBR guys as far as, Ohio and Indiana and those guys that, Chris Valentine is one of my favorite people that runs PBR Ohio. Blake and Phil kind of run PBR Indiana, and Blake he was the best man at my wedding. So I know those guys pretty well. But, on your tech piece, how are you guys, what piece of that technology are you using most for your guys, whether it's your pitchers or your hitters? I know we've talked about Rapsodo and exit velos and all that kind of stuff. What do you guys usually key in on for your young guys coming up? Since I know you don't have that 18U team in there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use Blast Motion. We like Blast. I like Rapsodo. I actually don't have one in my facility yet. That's going to be a purchase I'm purchasing this summer for next off season, which I'm going to start using. So Rapsodo would be something that I am going to start using. But this year was Blast. Of course, we have Stalker radar guns that we use to get, good velocities and exit velos and stuff like that. It's actually pretty cool. We're pretty, not only technology, but, also analytical wise. At our facility, we have boards for each team, and we have basically an analytical ledger, and it goes through a bunch of different analytics, and the kids keep it on the board to hold accountability. They know, if they're, working hard enough, if they're improving, and basically the board would just always have their top. We have like 30 different analytics on there. We know baseball's not all analytics, but, for me, an analytic is super important because it shows improvement. It shows that you're getting better. And when you do that psychologically, you want to get to practice more and work harder. So that's one thing that we do too. That's not technology, but, that's something that we use the technology and then implement it in a different way. So that's what we want to get to. And Rapsodo will offer more, of course, of that analytical stuff that we can add even more analytics to the analytical ledger to, just make it more, as much as possible to give the kids. I see all these things, like I said, on social media that, people are like, they almost like, some people like love it and some people like make fun of all the analytics and the technology. And I'm all about adapting. I want to make sure I have the kids, all the things that 2020 brings us, I want to make sure they have. So that's like kind of like my plan: technology, social media, analytics. I like that stuff, and I believe in it, and I don't believe in it necessarily that's going to make a player better, but I believe in it that's going to make them work harder and understand the game more, which in the end actually makes them better. So, I'm a huge advocate of all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, from your point of view as a young guy, I feel like I'm a young guy. I'm 36.
You are
26 is that, from your standpoint as a young guy, we talk about this a lot with one of the guys in our office. And like when I graduated high school in 2001, and travel baseball was really just getting going here. I mean, we were playing Babe Ruth and rec league ball and stuff like that. We're doing multiple groups. But what do you feel has changed so much since even when you were in high school and coming up through this and now being a part of this?
So for me, I always tell my guys, I wish I had what you guys had. I always say that, I'm only 26 and I wish I had what they had, so I was in high school, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, even. So for me, I wish I was able to take film on my big iPad here, take film on my big iPad, Apple TV it over to the TV, open up Coach's app and draw X and circles on my swing and be able to see that. I wish my high school and my travel organization had that technology to give me. I wish I could put a little thing on the bottom of my bat to see my bat speed, So like all these things I wish I had. So, none of that really existed. It was very limited source. Of course, there's radar guns, and I'm sure there was some technology out there, but it wasn't marketed well enough. It wasn't in the mainstream yet to, be able to use until probably a couple years ago, really. So for me, I wish I had all that stuff. And, I think technology and sports in general has grown like crazy. And, all these new analytics that come out and, I think all of it's useful. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen difference wise. And then also this exposure wise, I wish I had Pastime and PBR and Perfect Game to be able to expose myself. And it was around, but it wasn't as in your face. They weren't running. You guys weren't running tournaments every weekend. You guys, it was more of just like, hey, sign up on our website. We'll post you on our webpage type of thing. It was just the beginning stages. There wasn't tournaments. The college coaches weren't aware of it yet. So they're not flooding the fields for these tournaments because they weren't aware of it. And then social media, of course, like you go to a tournament and, one of our guys goes 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and a home run, and you post his game on your Twitter and 100+ coaches are going to see it. That didn't exist 10 years ago. So I always tell them, if you're good enough, you're going to get seen nowadays. And I don't think that was necessarily the case back then. But I think nowadays each kid, where they end up is where they belong, because it's impossible not to, be seen.
I know when I played, I never even realized and grasped the concept of, playing at the next level until I was probably a junior in high school. And that was really when our number one guy went to Arkansas. And that was the first time we had ever seen college coaches in Central Indiana at a baseball field. When we were playing summer ball, like we would play a game, we had no idea like how many teams are in the event. If there are 30 teams, there could have been 4 total teams. We just never knew. And when we first started Pastime and, we would do the field work and all that stuff all day long, I would get back to a hotel and start loading the scores from the day. And to think about it right now, if I waited until 8:30 p.m. to load all the scores and results from a Thursday game where 60 games were played that day, man, parents and coaches and even players would be all over us for waiting for it to take that long. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is to see even the small tech stuff, just the website and the availability, the communication, the exposure piece for us is huge. I think every year we're trying to get, that tech piece, whether it's at the ABCA convention or something we hear from college coaches, what's that next piece that can maybe set our events apart from everybody else. But ultimately, I don't care who wins our events. I want to make sure that we had the ability to get this guy seen or that guy seen, whether it was because they're coaches at the field at our events or through social platform or whatever it is. And I think that's the most important thing for us right now, for sure.
Absolutely.
So being that you went to a small school, now you have some kids that went to some D1 schools. I went to an NAIA school. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, so I know all about Ohio. I went to Rio Grande, which is in Southern Ohio, NAIA school, and I loved it. It was the best fit for me. How do you approach that with your guys? Like a lot of guys, everyone wants to go D1, right? Everyone wants to go get drafted and things like that, but that's just not the reality for all of them. So how do you get your guys the best fit for them? I mean, you got one kid that's going to Mount Union. That's awesome. That he loved it. He wants to go there. So what's your approach with that?
So I think for me, my perspective on it, of course, since I did play at a D3 school, I get to share my experience with them, which I do, just letting them know, that I did love it and it was a great opportunity for me. And college baseball is college baseball, so and the gameplay from high school to college is faster and better no matter what level you're at. Of course, the D1 schools are even faster and a little more talented. But yeah, everyone wants to go D1. And, that's something that we've been trying to change their mindset on, because now more than ever, I feel like the gap is closing between how good D1 is to how good D3 is, or NAIA or JUCO. So for me, I make them know that the next step is just getting to the next step. It's not necessarily making sure that you go to that one school that you want. So what we do, the mindset we put our kids into is we make them think about what is their dream school. What school is their top school, maybe even out of their thoughts how amazing it would be to play there. And then what is a school that you can achieve that feels achievable, but still might be a little hard to get into and play baseball there. And then what school is realistic for you? What schools do that you can call and really have a good chance of getting in front of the coaches and getting on their roster. That way they have a list of schools that they can have goals to get to, and a list of they have a mindset of, this is kind of my tiers. And then as the summer goes on and as their years in high school goes on, they can kind of determine, and I'm real with them. I don't want to tell my 16U kid who's throwing 72 and has trouble with his changeup that he's going to go play at the University of Michigan. It's just not going to happen. So I need to be real with these guys and, make sure they know where they belong, because one thing that I'm, big on is we do video and, I give them email templates for them to send out to college coaches just to get some things. I don't want, that kid wasting his time with a school like Michigan or Ohio State. It's just not worth his time right now. He's not saying he's never going to get there, but right now it's not worth his time to send that email. So for me, I think the big thing is just using my experience to be able to let the kids know that me playing at a small Division III school, in the middle of nowhere, basically in Northeast Ohio, was one of the best experiences in my life. And the friends I made and the things I've learned, and it's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So, my whole future was based off, that experience, and it was a great experience, and you don't want to miss out on that experience because you feel that you didn't do well enough and didn't make a D1 school. That's ridiculous. So for me, I'm a huge advocate of kids that, it's like, okay, I get it. I'm not good enough to play D1 right now, but, I'm going to take that D3 or that JUCO offer and I'm going to go play, because for me, it's just getting the kids to the next level and making sure they continue to love the game and play the game.
Yeah, I think you've got a unique opportunity, kind of like I had when I was in high school, where we had a very clear D1 guy. You've got an Ohio State, an early commit that's, 16. I think when we all saw, all the guys I played with that, went on to play college baseball, most of them were JUCOs and D3 kind of guys, but there was a very clear level of talent that Arkansas kid had that, we all thought, hey man, we're probably D1 guys. I can play at that next level. I personally thought I could on every platform from, defensively, throwing and stuff like that. And ultimately I think, I wasn't a D1 guy in the sense that, I was 5'8", 165 pounds in high school. And it's just, that size, I think I always felt held me back. But when I looked at myself versus that clear D1 guy, I mean, it was just night and day. There was power, there was size, there's everything else that, I didn't really have. But, it's that offensive piece that really set him apart from the rest of us. We all threw about the same velo. He was 92 or 93 on the mound, which I need a crow hop to get my 92, 93 without question. But when you look at those guys, it's easy. We looked at him and we were like, man, if he would just work out a little bit more, if he would just try to throw hard, because it doesn't even look like he's attempting to do that. And I think it takes young guys and high school kids a while to realize, oh, that's what it was. He didn't have to throw 100% to hit 92. And I'm giving it all.
It's gifted. Some kids are just gifted. The one good thing about Ohio is loaded with D3 schools. Oh my God, D3, NAI. We have so many colleges in Ohio. I think it might be the most in the country, to be honest. I don't know.
You guys in Illinois with the JUCOs, you guys with the D3 stuff.
We have so many D3 schools, and it is crazy. So it's really easy for them to come see a Tuesday afternoon game, or come, come on, a visit to see a kid. So,
but hopefully your guys see that, that Ohio State commit and go, okay, maybe I do need to look at a D2, a D3, a JUCO route, because, at some point you kind of recognize the difference between where you're at and where that kid's at. Cause there's certainly a certain level that they're above you right now.
Absolutely. And I think, it's visible, he's a basketball player too. So I wish he was more part of our off-season training, because, that would give the kids a better look. It's natural talent, and not everyone has that natural talent. A lot comes from your genetics. Like you said, you're 5'8", you just aren't going to do the same thing a 6'3" guy is going to do. You got to work harder to be able to achieve those same analytical numbers. But yeah, I think overall that's it's a good thing for the C, and they're still 16, so they're still striving. We make it like I'm real with them, but at the same time, I'm like, let's do it. If you want to be D1, let's work, So, I'll tell a kid, like, right now, I could see you sitting at a D3 level. I could see you being a good contribution to a D3 team, but you're not there at D1 yet. If you want that, let's work. Let's get it. So I think that's where a lot of my kids are at now. That point where they might, be a D1 guy. We have some on our 16U team that I coach. We probably have 3 or 4 legit D1 guys. One's committed right now, but I'm pretty confident 2 or 3 more are going to be committed by the end of the summer. So those are like probably my legit D1 guys. And then, the rest are all college guys. It's a loaded roster of all college guys. Same thing with that 17U group. And most of them probably fall into that D3 JUCO range. Not saying anyone's going to take a huge jump over this next offseason and have one good game in front of the University of Illinois. You never know what happens, So, that's why I try to put them in the best situations to get exposed and go to tournaments like your guys and PBRs to make sure every game that they play is worth it. Every game that's my main thing for them. I want to make sure they're prepared. And then every time we play, that it's a game that's worth it for them. It's a game where if they do something worth seeing, it would be seen. And that's the biggest thing for me.
How are things going up there? I know that that area is getting hit pretty hard. Like how are you guys hanging in there?
It's tough. I'm in day 9 of not leaving my house here. So that's a little tough. I'm doing ridiculous things right now. I mean, I just set up my schedule for my tryout in August. You know what I mean? Like I'm working way ahead of the time. I have so much time on my hands. I'm just working, doing things to get organized for the future. But we're doing our best, especially baseball wise. We're using Snapchat to communicate with the whole team. And what I make them do is every day they need to send something into the team chat of them getting better. So if it's a video or a photo or, a snapshot of their map my run, if they're going out and running, or if they're hitting off a tee, or if they're playing long toss with somebody, or whatever it is, if they're doing 100 push-ups, I don't care what it is. There's something to better themselves as an athlete and a baseball player. So every day I make sure that all the kids send a Snapchat in on our Snapchat, and that way, it holds them accountable, because they don't want to be that one kid that doesn't send it into the team chat. So it kind of gets them to go do it. And you know how high school kids are, when they have no schedule, no school, no scheduled practice, they could get lazy. That's, how all high school kids are. So I wanted to make sure that I still had some structure with them, because man, with this break and not high school baseball not happening right now, it makes me nervous with their arms, getting out of shape that quickly like that. And also all the work that they put in the off season. I mean, we put in work 3-4 days a week, throwing program, this innovative throwing program that we do with med balls and plyo balls and weighted balls and, different types of things. And they were so strong and so ready and so pumped for the high school season. And then it gets taken away, especially for the Menor guys at 17U. I mean, that's a team that should be winning a state championship this year. So like they're hyped to try to win a state championship, and they might not even get a chance to anymore. So I feel so sad for those guys, especially, guys like Charlie, the Mount Union commit, who, will be in number 1 or number 2, probably number 2. That Menor has this kid, Chad Rogers, who's going to Penn State as well. So, I mean, that's they were so excited for that high school season. They lost in the extra innings of the D1 state championships in Ohio last year. And, they're ready. They had all their guys come back. And so we're just trying to make sure that they're staying focused, keep working. So we will play baseball this year. I'm very optimistic about it. So, I'm just letting them know we will play baseball.
Within that group chat, we know you've got one clown in there. Everybody's got that one clown on the team that's sending the most ridiculous video of creativity on what he's working out with. Who's your guy that's doing that? What did he do?
Yeah. So luckily, what I'm smart, because I don't want to deal with them. So they have a Snapchat group. I make them all have, because I want them to have good chemistry as a team. So I make them have a Snapchat. Well, I wanted to group me, but they're all on Snapchat, so I just let it be. They can have a Snapchat. And so the Snapchat with just the kids. It's just the kids, and I tell them all their BS doing that group chat. But the one with me in it, the one I see on a day-to-day basis, is more serious. Yeah, it's more serious. So I don't get all those jokes coming in on mine. I'm sure they have that going on in their own little personal one. But I see a lot of photos of them working out at home and playing catch with friends, hitting off a tee. A couple guys are lucky enough where they had, their own weighted balls or plyo balls, and they're doing some work with that and staying on their band work. Just doing anything that they could possibly do at home. And every day I'll list some things, like give them ideas, just so they're staying creative and, making sure, because some of the kids have texted me and goes, "Coach, I don't know what to do right now. I don't have this. I don't have this." And I'll use social media and I'll tag them something or send them something and be like, "I know you got your glove, and I know you got at least one baseball. You can do this, or you got a tennis ball there. You can do this." So, I just want to make sure that they're not giving me any excuses or, trying to make excuses for them to just sit around and do nothing and play Fortnite. I want them to make sure that they're going out and getting work in. And, I said this quote to them the other day, and I was like, "Listen, this is a big summer for you lot, you guys." And this is me talking directly to my personal 16U team. We're going to some of the biggest tournaments in the Midwest area, the biggest tournaments in the Midwest area. You're playing in front of college coaches consistently. you're putting all this work in, doing all this travel. I mean, we're playing in 9 tournaments and 7 of them are hotel tournaments. So we're staying in a hotel 7 times, 7 weeks out of 9 weeks in a row. And we're going all across the Midwest. And, we want to make sure that I go, guys, don't make it a waste. This is the time where you got to put in the work. You got to make sure you fight through what we're going through right now and still getting work, because it's going to show. And it's going to show. And I tell them, if when you go, when you struggle on the mound that day and you didn't do anything for a month and a half because of this terrible thing we got going on, you're going to think about that. So make sure you're doing it. Don't have regret. Make sure you're doing it, because I know I have a lot of regret. So I know there was times where I could have been working where I didn't. So I want to make sure that they don't have that same mistake that I did.
They have issues throwing and stuff. Here's a little one that you can have them try doing. It's called Oats Throwing Sock. Look it up. It's legit.
You put real oats on the sock?
No. So it's the company's Oats, OATES.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a variation of a hold. I don't know if you've ever heard of what a hold is, but basically it velcros to your wrist. You throw a weighted ball in it, and it's literally just like playing catch.
Wow.
And our guys, they'll go over winter break and they'll throw, and that's what they do. So
That's awesome.
It's really, really well. So
video on that?
I'll shoot you something. Yeah.
Shoot me something. I would love to see that. Any more ideas? I would love them just to be able to have a bunch of things that they know they can do.
Yep.
Some kids that are by themselves, and there's some kids that are lucky enough to, have friends close by where they'll be able to go do something with them. And so, I mean, every kid has its own disadvantages and advantages. And, there's a couple of kids that are lucky to have batting cages 2 seconds from their house, or outdoor batting cages they can go use. So you got to use what you have at this point. And, I'm just trying to do my best job at making sure that they know, they know that they need to put work in, and I'm giving them ideas. And the other big thing right now is, usually right now, college coaches are out playing games, and, they're busy. They don't have much time to look at their email. I tell them right now, listen, they have a lot of time right now. Everyone has a lot of time on their hands. They're looking for the future. And I don't know how this is all going to work now with that extra year of eligibility and roster sizes. I don't know how that's all, the whole thing with that. But, I tell them this is a good time to, shoot some emails over. They're in front of their laptop. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Jeff, man, appreciate you coming on. Let you get back to a normal day. I know one thing we like to let everybody leave with is, what makes, some of these guys out here and what they're doing, what really attracts you to those kind of guys? What makes it an NEO guy that you're looking at? What sets them apart from, another, the guy sitting next to him at the field? What's your pull for that kid?
I just think I like kids that take the game seriously. I like kids that want to come to work, and, I can see that they're looking something bigger than that moment of time. I hate going through the motions. I want plans. I want to make sure that they are intrigued to get themselves better. More important than that, do they have a head on their shoulders? Are they respectful? Are they, do they understand how grateful they are to be able to play this game at a high level, and, have parents that, will pay for them to, have this elite experience during the summer and be able to put them in situations where they can better their lives in the future. I mean, that's huge for me. I mean, I've seen some kids that just don't understand what they have, and that really irritates me, So to make sure they have a head on their shoulders, one, and two, to make sure that, they want to get to the next level. When I started this organization, I wanted to make an elite organization, and I'm all for the rec leagues and the city teams. We need those. We need those to keep baseball alive and to keep people loving baseball. But for me personally, I'm looking for, players that are either already elite or players that are at that cusp that want to work to get there and want to be exposed to colleges, and, let me do what I want to do. And what I like to do is, get kids scholarships. So that's my main focus right now. And, if that kid wants one, he wants to work for it, I'm here for him. I'm here for him.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we're all playing at the end of May, early June, and we can get these guys back out there and maybe make up for some lost memories from this year for those guys.